All right, Richie Mars, a unexpected Clash in Paris match between the Wyatt Sicks and the Street Profits for the WWE Tag Team Titles. Out of 10, how excited are you for this one to get added as your sixth match?
I like the tag team division on SmackDown, so I am excited that they're on the PLE. But as a match itself, there hasn't really been much build because the Wyatts and the Street Profits, they were in that TLC match at SummerSlam,
Yeah.
and it feels like the bigger story was about the Miz and Mello climbing the tag title ranks rather than like any of the other teams that we've seen be in this kind of match scenario. So for me, it's like I'm probably like a 5. Nothing like really like not too excited, not like saying it's like, oh, this is gonna be boring, but it again, there's a lot of different scenarios you could do, especially because the Street Profits have been getting on that start stop kind of roll. Like
Yeah.
they've had huge momentum, SmackDown after Mania, winning that first inaugural like TLC match with all the current SmackDown tag team division roster. And now it's like they kind of slowed down, then they dropped the titles for the Wyatts, and now they're getting their rematch back. It just seems like a lot of missed potential, and I think that's the best way to create like the story. I think the match itself is going to be fine, but it's like it could be so much more. But again, it's one of those things where apparently there was another team that was like rumored to be this match instead, so the Street Profits are kind of like an add-in team for that, so they're playing off the history because that's the easiest kind of segue towards it. But I don't know, with the reaction of the Street Profits and the Miz and Mello, like either or, I think would have been fine. But yeah, we're getting in this tag title rematch.
I do like adding 2 weeks of TV, having the Street Profits qualify in a match to face Mello and Miz after they qualified for a match to become the number one contender for last night, Friday Night SmackDown. To have them have a match for this PLE seems like, oh, let's kind of fill this in and make it work. It felt like put on you instead
Mhm.
of organic. But even though I kind of laid out an organic scenario. So like if I asked you out of 10, I'm 3.5, say mild, mildly okay with it. It's whatever for me. If it doesn't add sex appeal, it adds a little depth and perhaps a little chaos and maybe the right thing by getting the belts back on the Profits. But I just think highly unlikely just with that one, right?
Yeah, for that, it's more of the spectacle that I think WWE is trying to go for. Because imagine the Wyatt Six, and you're in that
In
Paris
Paris.
arena.
Yeah.
That's they made a big deal out of Jay being in Lyon at Backlash last year and having that electrified entrance. And I think they're trying to go for a similar feel here to make the Wyatt Six have that. I hate using this term because it's so modern, but aura farming, I guess, is the term, where it's just like when somebody has like a moment like that, and WWE is very good at this, where it's like it seems like somebody's really cold, but if you put them in front of a hot crowd, it makes that moment a little bit bigger. Just going by recently, Sami Zayn winning the United States Championship on SmackDown, the crowd was electric. Not saying they wouldn't have been electric in the United States, but it just means that much more when you see them in that scenario. Like the Street Profits, when they won the tag titles from DIY, everybody was like doing all their taunts, like they were doing the Montez Ford thing. So like the choo choo.
Mhm.
I call it the choo choo. But yeah, they're just trying to cultivate and capture like a moment so you could restart something from there instead of sometimes writing the story from the ground up. You start with the big moment, then you write the story based around that. And some people have like positive or negative kind of thoughts surrounding that, but as a match itself, like I'm sure it'll be serviceable. I think the titles, depending on which members of the Wyatt Six, and it looks like it's gonna be Dexter and Joe. I think it's the right combination
Yeah.
for
I
it.
don't actually mind them as a tag. Whenever that's brought up, I kind of mention that they're a good tag. I think Gacy's a little bit more better than Loomis in ring from
Mm-hmm.
like a move to like a movement standpoint, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. But I think they set Dexter up and work with his strengths with the
Mm-hmm.
power moves and the transitions and
Yeah, and just the look in general.
basically,
I think
yeah, the
Dexter has
look.
like the better look.
Yeah, but Gacy's kind of like the workhorse, making the
Mm-hmm.
movements, the hot tag, and taking a beating when it's time for them too. So I
Mm-hmm.
think Gacy's a little bit more valuable, and Dexter kind of adds to the Wyatt vibe.
Mm-hmm. And the whole Wyatt Six, it's been start and stop for a while. They had the whole Miz story with Karrion Cross, and now Cross is elsewhere. Miz is still freaked out by them playing off of that Wyatt Sicks fear he had with Mel, and that's what cost him the tag title match. So I could see Mello and Miz down the line challenging the Wyatts for the tag titles, just because there's still some more to add to that story, I feel like. And imagine like Mello is about to pick up the win in the tag title scenario, and then Miz just throws Mello out, and then he conquers his fear by getting the pin, do the Mello's work. I think that's where it might be leading to. And this match is just kind of like, give the Wyatt Sicks another win, over a credible tag team, and then just kind of move on from there.
So you brought up Bo Dallas earlier. I do like that backstage thing that they did last night where Mel and Miz are doing their thing. Oh, I'm better than you. You need me. You're glomming on, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And then Bo Dallas appears in Bo Dallas garb. Like, not like Bo Dallas garb, but and street clothes for Uncle Howdy. He's not Uncle Howdy. He looks like Bo Dallas. And that like medicine in a Richie Mars ward aura he had kind of was cool. I need more of that instead of more Uncle Howdy. And then when like it's time to go to the ring and be in mind games and stuff like that, then I need the Uncle Howdy. But like, I don't know, maybe more Bo Dallas and maybe get out of this blah state of mind that I have towards the Wyatt and maybe get a little more invested. Interest is still low.
Yeah, it's with WWE with supernatural characters, and they've made the Wyatt Sicks a lot more grounded comparatively towards, like Bray, Undertaker, Kane, where it's just like we haven't seen them as actual, people outside of the Wyatt character, which I think is a good and bad thing. And when it's good, we'll receive Bo Dallas kind of like talking in riddles. Is he talking as Bo or is he talking as Uncle Howdy? But the presentation of Bo kind of like being the mask for the mask of Uncle Howdy, I think is a very interesting concept. I saw somebody say that it's like, oh, he just like jacked Karrion Cross's gimmick, the devil kind of deal. But I think it's more of Bo.
There's more layers than that.
Right? Yeah, especially because Bo targeting specifically tag teams makes sense because, like the Wyatt Sicks are a family. And he views tag teams as like a brotherhood, as a sisterhood.
And it reminds him of his brother, right?
Yeah, and like that, him like doing those mind games with Miz and Mello, who are probably very easily being able to crack.
They're on tilt anyways with each other.
Yeah, right? So it's like he's just adding that extra like knife in the wound. He's like just kind of twisting it, and then adding it to Montez and Angelo. I think is a very interesting process where it's like. We've seen like, tag teams split up all the time, but we don't really see somebody who's, for lack of a better term, controlling the tag team champions kind of like defeat the tag team and split them up in a different way, in a mental game. And I feel like that is probably unlimited potential because you have a lot of solid tag teams on the roster. You have Fraxium, MCMG, you have DIY, and all these teams have solidified bonds with each other. So I would find it interesting where it's like Bo is the person that's trying to split every team up so they could just be, divide and conquer. Together we stand, divided we fall. The Wyatt Sicks are going to be together always, but they could still try to divide each and every one of these teams.
All right. So you mentioned earlier that there was supposed to be another tag match. That other tag match you mentioned was Rey Fenix and Andrade versus the Wyatt Sicks for the belts. Would the Wyatt Sicks be more likely to drop the belts if it was versus them?
Honestly, I could see a scenario where it was Rey and Andrade, and then like somebody like Los Garza like interferes and costs them, and then they split off and then do their own thing. Yeah. Because that's kind of how the WWE systematically like tag team feuds work, where it's like they're about to win the titles and then another team just interferes. It happened with the Street Profits with Motor City and DIY. It happened with Pretty Deadly and DIY. It's like all these different things. Like that's like their go-to. That's their bread and butter when it comes to tag team feuds.
To spin off and go another direction, right?
Yeah, and plus it's like I think like it would like Rey and Andrade would have been probably the best from an in-ring standpoint, with both Gacy and Loomis. I think that would probably be the best combination for that style. But
Yeah.
you got Angelo and Montez, which is again a very comparable style. But they're also very popular overseas as well. So it's a fine replacement if that was the original plan.
Yeah, this is the most decorated tag team on the SmackDown side of things, and probably in company side of things at the moment.
Mhm.
Been together on the main roster since 19, been together in NXT since like 17, 16. So Demont freaking Dawkins has been in the WWE since like 13,
Since
right?
FCW.
Yeah, right. So, and they get some swag. They got different iterations of it. Now we're in the BFAB era,
Mhm.
so it is what it is. I just hate to see them kind of keep losing on
Mhm.
PLEs because they're so decorated. But beggars can't be choosers. I feel that the Wyatts are most likely going to win this,
Mhm.
and it kind of is what it is. When first of all, when do you agree with me with that? And second of all, when do you think they'll hold these belts too? We have Halloween season coming up. They
Mhm.
got the Friday or the Halloween horrors at Universal,
Mhm.
and do you think we at least have the belts till then? Since for that, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the Whites retain here. I think it's a smart move for them to be champions still when they're still doing the Halloween horrors or advertising the Halloween horrors. And I know how people feel with this age of WWE with the whole TKO and just like everything is a sponsorship, but this is a sponsorship that does make sense that you want to put a light on,
The big one.
especially because it's a big deal with the Universal Horror House with the Wyatt Six. And I do think they'll still be champions going into the fall, but at the same time, it's like you're always wondering who will be the ones to get the titles off him. I do think Miz and Mello would probably be the front runners because we didn't get this match tomorrow, but again, who knows?
I would kind of put Phyraxium's name in the hat and
Hmm.
give them a real shot when the time comes.
Hmm.
So. All right, Richie. It was fun to kind of jump on here and be completists and get ready for the Clash in Paris, which is coming your way in less than 16, 17 hours once this is
Yeah.
released. So you got a short window to check out this preview, but this match should be a 3, 4 out of 10.
I think it's gonna be fine.
See you, buddy.
See ya.